Yes, hello. My name's. I'm calling from. Um, I was trying to reach Michael if he's available.
This is he.
Yeah, perfect. We're actually a cybersecurity company. We're providing cybersecurity solutions to MSPs and SMBs. Uh, the reason why I'm calling you today actually is to tell you that we have a free trial of our cybersecurity platform. And it's with 7 different protections without the need of integrating multiple technologies for cybersecurity. And if you would like to check it out, see if you like it or not, without any commitments to accept anything afterwards, of course.
We're not an MSP.
Oh, you're not?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for your time then.
Yep.
Have a good
Take care.
Bye.
Here are two extremely small changes this salesperson could make that would drastically improve his cold calling efforts. And the first is to optimize his cold call opener. This salesperson uses what I would refer to as a product cold call opener, which is basically the salesperson telling the prospect the company they're with and the product or service that they sell. This is actually the most common approach that salespeople use for opening cold calls. And while this is the most common approach, it actually has the least probability for successfully opening and establishing cold calls because the salesperson is reaching out to the prospect to talk about their product. And the problem with that is that most prospects that you reach are likely not in buying mode for the product that you sell at the exact time that they answer your call. This is not to say that they do not need your product or service or that they cannot be persuaded to buy what you have to sell. It's just most likely the case that they are not sitting there Googling and doing research in the area where you have something to sell at the exact time that they answer your call. And that means that there's very likely to be a mismatch between what you're wanting to talk about and where the prospect is mentally at that exact moment. And that creates a very high probability of being received with objections in the form of, I'm not interested. We don't have any budget right now. We already used someone for that. And we're not looking at making any changes right now. Now, if you agree that a product cold call opener can increase the probability of triggering these objections, then maybe if we don't use a product cold call opener, we can decrease the odds of facing objections, rejection, and resistance. And you may say, well, I'm a salesperson and I have a product to sell, so what else am I going to say at the beginning of a cold call? Here is another option for you, and that is that you could use a value proposition cold call opener, which replaces your company and product details with you simply sharing the value or benefits that your product or service can deliver. For example, you might say something like, well, the reason for my call is we help businesses to protect their systems, data, and infrastructure from cyber threats. You could then follow that with a soft takeaway by saying something like, but I'm not sure if that's an area that you're concerned about, and that's why I'm reaching out with a question or two. Not only does this decrease how much you sound like a salesperson and decrease that mismatch, but it takes you more in a direction of talking about things that the prospect might be interested and care about even when they're not in buying mode for the product or service that you sell. And the second area that we could have a major impact is to make one minor modification to the sales process that he's trying to work through. Now, this salesperson did what I believe most salespeople do on cold calls, which is sell the product. Even if they can't take the order right there over the phone, they still try to validate interest or a need in the product they sell. And this salesperson did that by trying to sell a free trial of his product. Now, in his defense, selling the free trial is a little bit better than trying to sell the product because he's actually selling the explanation step of the sales process. The explanation step is where you present or demonstrate the product or service that you have to sell. And a free trial would be be the equivalent of a demonstration. So he does have a slightly improved sales process in that he's not going for the close right there on the cold call. But it's still not an optimum approach because the explanation is not the next step in the sales process. The next step in the sales process is talking more and having a real conversation. And it's in that conversation where he can learn more about the prospect and then present the free trial as the next step that they can progress to. Not only is it more logical to sell the conversation than it is to sell the free trial, but it is easier to sell the conversation than it is to sell a free trial or a demonstration of your product to someone you've just started talking to. And I'm not saying that it's incredibly easy to sell the conversation during a very short cold call, but there are some things that you can do to improve your ability to sell and close for the conversation. And the best way to get the prospect to agree to talk more is by being good at finding a reason to talk more. And the best way to find a reason to talk more is by simply asking good questions. A salesperson that sells cybersecurity could ask pain questions that probe the prospect to see how they're doing or how they feel in the area of cybersecurity. The salesperson could also ask current state questions, which help the salesperson to learn more about what the prospect is doing in the area where they have something to sell. Now, you may say those are good tips, but I don't know what my value proposition is, and I don't know what questions to ask. If you want to implement those changes, we have a sales message brainstorming process that will help you to brainstorm all the key things to say and ask for the product or service that you sell. And I'm not going to explain how to go through these steps in this video because I've done that in another video, and I will include a link to that in the description below. But I actually went through this sales message brainstorming process for cybersecurity services and created all of these talking points and questions. And if you're looking at this and thinking either A, I don't know if I can go through this process and figure out what to say for my product or service, or if you're thinking that you don't want to spend the energy and time working on this, in Sales Scripter, we actually have an area called the Sales Message Builder, which aligns with all of those steps that I just showed you. And our Sales Message Builder includes AI tools that utilize ChatGPT. And you can use ChatGPT to go through all of those different steps and create all of those different talking points and questions for the product or service that you sell. And I actually used this AI to create all of these talking points for cybersecurity services. But the great thing is that once you do go through this process, whether you do it on your own or you use AI, is that each of these steps will create what we refer to as building blocks. And you can then mix and match those building blocks to create your cold call script. This cold call script right here actually aligns with the tips provided in this video by opening the call with your value proposition and then jumping straight to ask questions that help you find a justification for talking more. And then once you find that, you progress to introducing the product or service you sell and then going for the close for talking more in the form of a conversation. And once you close the prospect on talking more, you can also use those building blocks for an outline of how to organize what to talk about with the prospects you meet with. You can also use all of those building blocks as responses to the different objections that you are guaranteed to face when performing cold outreach. You can also use those building blocks to create cold email messages, voicemail messages, and a whole lot more. And that is pretty much it. If you want more information or have questions, the best place to go is salescripter.com. Thanks for being here. Hope this was helpful, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.